and we can start the recording. Hello, everyone. Welcome to LectoraLive, your inside track into Lectora. Today we've got with us, I think it's her fourth, maybe fifth visit. She's been here quite a few times. We are in the Valley today, the Jennifer Valley. Jennifer is with us. Hey, Jennifer, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I am
Great
good.
to be here again.
Yeah, nice to see you too. Let's run our intro real quickly. And we're back. Joining us today is Jennifer Valley. She is the community manager, a very prolific ebook writer of late. She's been writing a lot of ebooks for Trivantis. You're a Lectora developer and all sorts of other good things. And she's nice to work with. Jennifer, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you? It's good to see you again.
Yeah, I'm doing well. I mean, we had a little bit of a hiatus right at the end of summer. We don't do many shows, if any, because nobody's around. But we're back, and you are our first show back.
Yay!
So now you were going to talk a little bit. You guys have done such a good job on the community and the forums and everything. It's really been growing quite a bit. There's a lot more buzz and activity and just all sorts of different things you're doing. And I think you were going to share a little bit of what the community's up to and some of the resources that you can get there. I noticed that you can even do job postings now.
Yeah, we're definitely working on giving the most amount of value to our users as possible. And we're really trying to focus on not only Lectora or Lectora online content, but also for e-learning conversations in general.
Okay.
So been making some improvements, had a lot of new people join, and we're always interested and willing to have more people come and join the conversation as well.
That's great. That's great. And also, before we get into the little demo of the community, I got an email yesterday from Trivantis that the 2017 Lectora User Group's been announced.
It has. We have a location and a date now, so everybody can start talking to their supervisors about hopefully coming and joining us May 3rd and 4th. And we're going to be in Cincinnati, Ohio, which is awesome. Not too far from where I'm at, so it won't be too much of a drive. The plane ride down to Florida this year was a little interesting for me.
Was it?
Yeah, they were doing the TSA strikes, so security was a.
We had a TSA strike? I didn't even know about that one.
Yeah, there was a couple different airports that got hit with it, where people were essentially striking, and calling in on days and leaving everybody shorthanded.
Yeah, that's smart. Let's unionize all government employees. It's so smart. But anyway, I would consider that a good thing. You don't have to go through TSA. No waste of time. Life is good. But anyway, I didn't even know they had a strike. I guess where we were, they didn't, because we got right through. There was no issue. But, oh, yeah, that would probably delay you a lot.
Yeah, I flew out of Nashville because it's the closest, larger airport. And so they definitely had it going on. And it was probably, I believe, by the time everything was all said and done, an hour and 15 or an hour and 20 minutes.
Wow.
From the time I walked into the main gate until I could get to my actual gate for the airport.
Yeah.
And it made me late. And so, yeah, it was a little bit of a situation. Had to find a different flight and stuff. So.
Not fun. Well, Cincinnati's a pretty city. I've been there a couple of times. I haven't been to Trivantis yet over there, but I have been through Cincinnati. We have some clients not far from there, and it's kind of nice. The river's going right through it, and there's just some cool buildings downtown. The Hyatt Regency, I think I've actually passed that one. It looks like a really nice. Did I say Hyatt? Hilton. What did I say Hyatt for?
No, Hyatt.
It is a Hyatt Regency.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is a Hyatt, yeah.
I don't know, I'm getting my Hiltons and Hyatts confused today. So it's at the Hyatt Regency. I think I've actually been past that one. And is that where the conference was last time?
I'm not exactly sure. I feel like we might have decided to go into the the realm of repeating the location again as far as where it's at, but I'm not 100% sure on that one.
Yeah, I'm not either.
Last year was the first time I'd ever been to one before.
Same here.
I kept up on them and everything, but I never really were able to get that approval to
That's
come
funny.
and enjoy it. So.
Yeah, that's same for us. This in over 10 years of working with Lectora, that's the first time we went to the user conference and had a blast. Loved it. It was a lot of fun. And it was so much fun because they also invited so many of the developers. So you got to talk to everybody. It, from a user perspective, that was priceless. I thought that was really brilliant. And it was fun too. We had a good time with everybody there. The venue was nice, and the show was really well put on. So, kudos to you and Stephanie Ivick and everybody else who was involved. It turned out really nicely.
Glad to hear it.
Yeah, it was fun, and the place was nice. I thought the rooms were good, and everything was pretty good.
It was nice being able to stay in the same location as where the conference is, because then you don't have to worry about transportation, making sure you're getting to everything on time.
Right.
So that's one of the big pluses of taking advantage of the pricing that comes available when we have the hotel rooms opened up for the conference users.
Yep. It was a pretty big hotel too. It had 2 wings, two full buildings, and it was kind of neat. So anyway, so what else is going on? I know you've been writing a lot of ebooks.
Yeah. Myself and all the other people in the marketing department as well. We've been putting out a whole bunch of different things just to make it so that the users have more information to use, including ebooks and doing webinars. We had a really successful webinar, high registration volume this past week. Having those conversations out in the community. I mean, there's a lot of things going on right now, so it's a good time. It's a good time to be involved with Trivantis and Lectora.
That is true. And you guys are doing some great stuff. I'm waiting for some of the new stuff to come out. It should be pretty darn cool. So everybody's excited. What's coming up? You guys leave John Blackman alone for 10 minutes and he's dangerous. So
I think that rings true to quite a bit of people that are on the development team.
You guys have a great team. I love your development team. There's some really good folks in there, and I haven't met everybody, but I've met probably maybe 10 or 15 of them, and there's some really just good folks there, and just the passion and the knowledge. It's just great.
It's good stuff.
Yep. So what kind of books have you been writing?
So the last one that I personally worked on was for the if you're a storyline user, how it relates to Lectora and adding Lectora into your tool belt in addition to what you might already have. And then we also recently released one about statistics and information that was really helpful. There's one about accessibility. We still have our e-learning 101, which is one of the things that I talked about with you a little while ago. I think the last time we had a conversation was actually about the Lectora 101 ebook.
Right.
So lots of stuff there. I've actually been working on a new one. Can't give out the details quite yet. And I also picked up training as well. So I've got some new responsibilities with the company, and it's been a good experience.
Oh, good. Are you going out and training?
No, I'm actually helping with the Synchronous, so the online version of our training. We do it for Lectora and Lectora Online for the different levels, so fundamentals and intermediate.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Well, at least you don't let go of your Lectora knowledge. You're constantly in it.
No, that was one of the things with the community that I wanted to make sure that I was still going to be able to do, because when you are in e-learning, you start to develop a passion for what you're doing if you really truly enjoy it. And I didn't want to have to take away from my development. So some of the conversations can be about functionality, so I'll get in there and test things out. And then with the contests in particular, I'm usually creating an example with each one of those that we come out with. And this week we announced Contest 14, which is all about back to school and pop quizzes.
Everybody loves
I'm really
pop
excited.
quizzes.
I wanted to build something today, but I kind of just didn't have the time. So I'm definitely going to be in Lectora working on it next week, because I've got some things floating around in my head.
That sounds good. Pop quizzes. I hated pop quizzes. I was okay at them. It just didn't. It's like, we're having a pop quiz now. Oh no.
I was fine with them as long as they weren't Spanish.
Spanish.
For some reason, Spanish took forever to like stick into my brain. I still can't speak a lot of it, and I took the beginner and intermediate class in high school, and then I also took one in college as well. So it's not like, somebody didn't teach me all of this
That's
stuff, but
funny. Well, maybe
it's
we
funny
should do the
about the
rest of the
words that
interview in
get stuck in
Spanish.
your head.
We can do the rest of the interview in Spanish if you'd like.
Oh, no, no.
I'm actually fully bilingual.
Really? That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. I was
That's
born in
cool.
Argentina, but most people don't know that.
Oh,
Came here when I was 3, and so it's been a long time. I mean, English is my first language, but at
right.
home it was Spanish, and
Nice.
and I used to respond in Spanglish, which is real typical of first generation or second generation here. But it was fun. I guess I'm first generation because my parents. Well, I don't know how they work it. I'm second generation. They came, and I came with them, but then
Right.
I guess I'm second generation. But yeah, it's fun. Yeah, English is my first language, but I'm glad I hated it when I was learning it at home. It was like I don't want to learn Spanish, and then I'm glad now because it does sometimes come in handy. We've had to do projects which were in Spanish or in French, which I took in school, and I barely remember anything. Um, but yeah, languages are fun. They said that if you can learn a language all the time, your brain never stops connecting,
Mm-hmm.
which is sort of interesting. I tried some language training. What was it?
Rosetta Stone.
Rosetta Stone. It was
Mm-hmm.
okay. It was okay. I taught English for a year at Berlitz when I was back in Argentina for 3 years in the late 1970s, and it was interesting. It was interesting. It was only teaching executives, and the method was very, very similar to Rosetta Stone. I used to wonder if it was the same ownership, but because it's all about pictures. Is this a cat? Yeah. What is it? A cat. What kind of cat? I don't know, cat. Um, and it was the same exact method, and it was sort of fun
Right.
teaching the executives because most of them were absolutely awful at English. So it made for some fun comic moments.
I have this real interest just because I eventually want to get over there to learn Japanese.
Ah,
But all of the, Japanese and Chinese and all of those languages are so overwhelming because
yeah, they're
uh,
different.
y- so many characters, so
Hmm.
many, different words or letters that you can be using. But there's a lot of things over in Japan that I'd be really interested in experiencing and just being able to kind of walk around.
Yep.
And with that, knowing that you don't necessarily have to have a translator or a guide while you're going through, which would be
No.
nice.
And a friend of mine yesterday told me about a new app called Translate. And you
Is that
just,
the one where it's supposed to hear you and
yeah,
then
you
turn it
say something and
into
it
the
translates it to
language?
the language you want, and then they
Yeah,
say something and it translates it back. It's like the universal translator from Star Trek. It's kind of cool.
yeah.
Um, I mean, it's first generation translation like that, but I think that's really cool. By the
It's
way, I
about
also took Japanese for
time.
2 years and, no, 3 years, and Chinese for 2. So I can help you maybe.
Just a little bit.
Just a little, yeah. I'm really rusty. That was 40 years ago, but yeah, I like Japanese. It was fun, and if you know Spanish, the vowel pronunciation is the same. A e
Oh,
i
I
o
didn't know
u ka ke
that.
ki ko ku. Everything is the same kind of vowel trans. The only ones that's different is that there's an ra sound, which is not ra. It's ra re ri ro ru, which is kind of you have to kind of twist your tongue a little bit to do it right,
Yeah.
which is different from Spanish, which is either ra or ra. So
Rolling up the R's.
yeah, with those R's, ruffles have ridges. Yeah, I remember that.
The one line that always sticks in my head is probably not appropriate to say, but it's essentially a donkey is smarter than you.
Un
That's why
burro.
my
Yeah,
Spanish teacher came in, and that was the first thing that he ever said to us in Spanish. And it was he was getting the point across that Romance languages have the opportunity of taking a sentence and turning it into something a little bit more
yeah.
interesting and intriguing. And
Hmm.
he was essentially insulting us, but it was
That's funny.
so funny.
Yeah,
So,
Spanish is interesting because the verb conjugations are complex. It's a little difficult, and in Japanese is also the verbs are really complex. You've got, and then you have politeness and non-politeness built into the
oh
language.
yeah,
So you've got to be polite sometimes. Um, all you have to do is imitate a Japanese movie. That's all. Kore wa san desu ka? And everybody goes, "Oh wow, that was cool. What'd you say?" Nothing, but you just they talk. It's a very kind of guttural. It's very strong language. Chinese is a little bit different. Chinese is backwards. Everything is
yeah, because they read
yeah.
left, right. Yeah.
Understand, not understand this. So it's not, do you understand this? Understand, not understand you this, or this you. So you're totally inverting the way we say things in Chinese. So it's
Right.
yeah.
I
It's
thought
just
the jumbling of Spanish was confusing enough.
I
You're
know.
definitely not selling Chinese.
Yeah,
to
then
me
you get
right
into
now.
Chinese
You're selling
and
Japanese though.
yeah,
So that's
Japanese is fairly straightforward. Other than verb conjugations are a little tricky because you've got your past tense, your present, and the way they're said. Though it is more consistent, and then they have 3 different ways of writing it. You've got katakana, which is what they use for foreign words. Hiragana, which is like a small script, and then you've got kanji, which is the actual ideograms. And when I was younger, I could read about I'd say 1,500. I was literate, and I could read half a paper. The other half, forget it. I have no idea what I was reading, but half of it was good.
That's how I feel about Spanish now. Just because I know enough about essentially what the words are, but when it comes to the ones that are not necessarily something that would ever heard in context, because a lot of the times when they're teaching you it's about location, objects, things that can relate to you as a student. So we went through and talked about pencil and pen and
Right.
Desk, and I'll randomly say to my kids pantalones because they think it's hilarious.
And in Spanish,
I love that word.
and
I love
in
it so
Spanish,
much.
lectora is a teacher,
Yeah, it
a
is.
lecturer.
I love that.
Yeah, it's interesting because sometimes when you do a search for lectora on the web, you get these Spanish teachers.
Twitter.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
So that's good. You know what? Languages are good. They're fun. I don't keep up like I used to on languages, but it is a lot of fun to learn the languages and find the commonalities of what we're saying, and there's always something. I have a language theory that somehow Swedish and Chinese had some connection, because there's one word in Sweden which is wog. Wog is I. When Chinese it's wo. The only 2 languages I've ever found that were so similar in just one word. Weird. And you never know. There may have been there's probably other words too. I've talked to some other linguists I knew, and they said there's some other connections, Indo-European and Chinese, and it's just really interesting how it all kind of comes about and where it all emanates from. So it's kind of cool.
I think knowing root words would be extremely helpful. Putting a lot of that information into your bank of your knowledge and stuff, and being
Yeah.
able to pull up on that. Because if you see a lot of successful people who are on television shows and they're doing competitions like Jeopardy or something along those lines, it's usually because they're able to break down the word so finitely that
Yep.
they can come up with the definition just with context.
Yeah, that's true.
So.
That's true. Of course, those people have no lives on Jeopardy. You know that.
I know. I'm not that good with memory. I cannot commit that kind of stuff into my brain like that. My husband, on the other hand, you tell him something and it can be the most random, obscure fact, and he'll be able to recall it back to you in like 3 months, 2 days,
Interesting.
and 5 hours.
Yeah, that's
Just
good.
because. Yeah.
That's good. Well, anyway, folks, now you've gotten your language lesson and you're ready to go. So,
Tangent.
so you want to show a little bit about the community now and what's been
Yeah,
going
sure.
on and some of the things that people can access and make good use of.
Definitely. Let me go ahead and share my screen. We can go ahead and talk about it. So I'm just going to run a basic profile so you can kind of get an understanding of what it's like to come in from the site. We do definitely recommend that you create a login, just because it gives you the opportunity to take advantage of a lot of the content that's in here, like the forum section. We want to be able to associate a person with an email address and get all that information with you so that we can contact you in other ways or associate it to your Lectora license. So it's always a good idea, if possible, to sign up using your employer email and everything. But in the community, we still have the same basic areas that you can kind of go through, which is connect, share, and knowledge base. And I'll do a little bit of an overview on each one of them, and we can kind of talk about them in general. So our connect section is where you can access content that is going to be in forum-based conversations. We have a couple different featured forums, which you can see at the top of the list in the gray bar. Most popular are the Lectora and Lectora Online for obvious reasons. But when you get into having the conversations with individuals, you can really share a lot of knowledge back and forth, answer questions, help with design suggestions, and just make sure that everybody is hopefully having as well of an experience developing as you are, which is awesome. We do also have some other places that you can kind of check out, like our tips and tricks and the suggestions area as well. And if you're a 508 person, you can also chat about web accessibility. So when you go ahead and get into one of these, you're going to see the different conversations that are currently going on. And you can kind of pick and choose which one that you're going to be able to help or be able to provide some feedback on. You're going to see my name and the freshness quite a bit because, of course, I'm active, but we do also have a lot of other active members that we've recognized with badges as well. So it's really nice to have those people on there and able to conversate with you as well as other Trivantis employees. So when it comes to conversating within the community, we actually have a couple different guidelines, and I'm going to go ahead and pull up that document that we recently published out in the knowledge base so we can take a look at it. So we went through and we were talking about how can you best take advantage of the community and specifically the connect section for the forum. So we came up with a couple best practices. And essentially we want our users to be nice. It is a happening place, and it's not some place. It's not a particular place in the internet that we're interested in bullying or making people feel inferior. Of course, you have people at different levels of experience and understanding and knowledge, so we're always trying to make sure that everything is a nice and happy conversation.
Yeah, if you want to go to a bad place, just go to a Flash forum. Those are really nice.
I didn't know that. I'll definitely be staying away from them.
They're nasty.
The other thing that we recommend is that you search first, just because it's going to give you the option of possibly be coming across content that's already been talked about. And who knows, you might be the missing link in the conversation that's going to be able to help take it, from oh, that sounds like a good idea to, oh, that sounds like a great idea. So definitely get in the practice of searching first if possible. And we really want people to include as much information as possible when they're posting. And I actually included a little bit of a sample here for you. So you can kind of go through this little line right here and try and include as much information as you can. Not everyone in the community is running the same version. We have the difference between Lectora and Lectora Online. We also have people who are working on different operating systems, browsers, publishing to different learning management systems. There's so many variables with the technology that it makes the conversation go a lot smoother or a lot happier, a lot easier if you include all that information, and it really speeds up the amount of response time that you'll get from other people, because otherwise you're going to be like, oh, what version are you writing? What browser are you trying to use? How are you trying to publish it? All those questions could potentially come up when you're trying to troubleshoot, because there's the little nuances in between the browsers and learning management systems in particular. The other thing that we ask is that you're being attentive and you're listening to the question and trying to figure out the answer. We want to make sure that people are checking back for follow-ups or files or suggestions. There's a way to select that you want to follow up with each conversation. There's a little checkbox that's down by the text area, and it really gives you the opportunity to have that conversation more fluidly instead of just kind of doing a dump and then coming back a couple weeks later when you thought about it again. So definitely recommend making sure that you check that checkbox every time that you have the chance. we've really cracked down on spamming, so we don't want spam in any shape or form. And anytime that it happens, we may send you a warning. You may be removed from the site. It's just not something that anyone really wants or expects. And it's one of the reasons why we're really particular about the content that's being shared and the monitoring of it. It's not Big Brother. It's just making sure that everybody is being respectful and not sharing inappropriate information or repeating information.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the little thing that we put together just to kind of talk about it. It is the number one place that's currently being used in the community, so it's definitely, where everybody's at, what everybody's interested in doing, and where the most value is. There's also the opportunity when you get in here and you're looking to post questions and answers. You can vote people up if you like their response, essentially showing them gratitude for taking the time to explain to them what's going on and stuff. So it's definitely something that is very helpful as well. And you're going to see that there's a lot of conversations that are going on right now and things that might help you with your process. So one of the things that I like to do, especially if I'm in a training session, is to give people multiple different resources for them to get out to and be able to learn how to use our product. It's really not that hard, but what Lectora does better than anybody else is provides a lot of different options. So sometimes it's the difference in between knowing what one option is better than the other. We also have our share section in the community, which is where you can share content. This is essentially Lectora online courses or objects, library objects, Lectora online packages. We have some of our great friends over at different places that are posting freebies for use in your courses as well to get you going with development. So you'll see that there's a lot of different examples out here. There's this really cool roller coaster festival themed one that's pretty cool to check out. And then our knowledge base is where we're going to post all of the information that's going to be pertinent to you. So you can see that we announced our contest 14 today about that pop-up quiz that I was talking about. There's also the Inspiration Wednesday that was this week, the Beyond Bullet Points, the 7 tips for better learning. Mm-hmm. We post our LectoraLive sessions, and then we also give you helpful articles about different things that you might be interested in as well. So it is a keyword search feature. It's not Google. You're not going to want to put in, how do I, put a filter on my picture? And it's a horrible example, but instead you would want to put in, picture or images or editing images or something along those lines. And there's also categories to generally lump things into as well. So you can see all of our contests. You're more than welcome to participate with them retrospectively, but if you do them on time, then there is a little bit of a winner status that you could potentially achieve. We also have all of our Inspiration Wednesdays that are recorded out here. We started a Lectora 101 series. For those of you who might be new to Lectora, you can learn how to use the product. So you'll see that there's a lot of different things out here for you. It's just a matter of finding it and finding what's most pertinent to you. So the other thing that we have been doing for a little bit of time is contests. And you'll see that we announced the contest so you can know what the theme is or anything like that. But what the previous one that we worked on was all about summer break, because of course we're still kind of getting into that school transition period for a lot of people in the United States, and hopefully we're not trying to exclude anybody that's not in the U.S., but that was just a conscious decision there. So you can see that we have all of these different examples about summer and zip lining and Michigan and Gish Wish, and we've got one about Prague, and I did one about my ultimate trip to London. That's like my go-to have to do it bucket list place. So I've got a lot of different places that I've outlined that I want to go to, and I did not even include probably a third of what's on my to-do list when I get there. So it's definitely going to have to be a long trip to have all that information being or all the sites being able to be seen at the same time. So When you do have conversations or comments or anything along those lines, you will see notifications. For this particular person, they earned a badge. So we have badges that are available on the site as well. They're pretty easy to earn, and you can kind of check them out by going to community.trivantis.com // badges. And there's different badges that are associated to them in different point systems, and we're working on a leaderboard right now. So it kind of gets a little bit of addicting when it comes to all the different things that you can potentially do. And while you're doing it, you're essentially doing, like professional development things, like you're posting a question, you're answering somebody's question. Those are all things that are going to be helpful to you as you're going throughout the site. And we definitely promote the knowledge and use of the community as well with some badges from there. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else that we've been doing. The contests and the badges, I believe, is the things that we were either in the infancy stages the last time I talked to you, or it wasn't, something that we had talked about in depth. So
Yeah, I think you put up the job board. That was something everybody was interested in.
yeah, we have a job board right now as far as a group goes, but we're actually looking at adding in a formal job board here shortly. Haven't done it quite yet, but there are groups that you can go ahead and join, each one of them with their varying different purposes. The Designing Women and Men's a really good one, so is e-learning course development. We've got one for user groups in various different areas of the globe, and we have career opportunities in here as well. So you'll see as I'm scrolling through, there's a lot of different things and conversations that you can go ahead and start, and you actually can earn a badge and make your own if you want to as well. We encourage it. We just ask that it's being e-learning in nature at the very least, just to make sure that it's pertinent to our base of users, and it's not considered to be spam content.
That's good.
So yeah, I think that's it. So I'll go ahead and switch it back over.
Yeah, it's quite a bit of content.
Yeah,
Is Sergey still the number one answerer?
pretty much.
Still, huh? He's good.
Yeah. Yeah, me and him kind of rival each other on a day-to-day basis. It depends on what I'm doing and how many questions I can get around to. But he's got so much knowledge when it comes to scripting and PHP and all this
Yep.
other things that I'm relatively new at. So he's out there definitely answering the more advanced questions a lot of the times a lot better, quicker than I ever could.
That's funny. That's
But
good.
we're trying to make it so that each and every time that you post within the community, you at least have some type of response within an hour. Sometimes that's not possible with scheduling of everybody that's monitoring the site, but you can pretty much guarantee some type of resolution or at least a suggestion within 24 hours, which is really great. Because a lot of the times when you're out here and you finally decide, oh, I'm definitely going to get into the community, you're frustrated, you're done, you're ready to, if you could throw this course out the window. So we definitely want to make sure that, that conversation is happening and happening quite quickly, so you don't get too discouraged or anything along those lines.
Yeah, that's great. Well, Jennifer, as always, it's a pleasure having you on. I know you're busy, so we're going to let you get back to your life today. It's a Friday, too.
Woohoo!
And you were very kind because you came on last moment. We
Yeah.
we had some other people scheduled, and we're trying to always get new people, but it's not always easy to do. But you were great coming on with just like 2-3 days worth of notice, and this is good because that's a lot of people. And I'm terrible. I don't go to the community that often, only because getting me out of meetings and work and everything else sometimes is a little tricky. I have to make it a point to get on more. I even have some badges, so I've got to.
You're getting up there. You're
Yeah.
doing some things in there. So
Doing
that's
something.
Great.
But definitely get on that community. There's a lot of good information, a lot of good content, a lot of good people donating time and effort to make it easy for all of us. So that's a really good thing. And Jennifer,
Yeah.
you're doing a great job on that, and all writing the
Thank
books
you.
and everything. You don't have a lot of time left to yourself, do you?
I just hit my 1 year mark with the company yesterday, so I've definitely got some experience underneath my belt and been doing a lot of things, and hopefully that's all showing up to our customers, and
Yeah.
everybody's having a good experience out there in the community and loving the content that we're putting out. That I'm sure the marketing team would love to hear that as well. So,
Yeah. Well, congratulations on the 1 year anniversary. I think you came
thank you.
on right when you joined.
hmm Yeah,
So,
the first time I came on, I think it was like within the first month or two.
yep. Yep.
Yeah.
I thought you came on before you joined. I thought.
Yeah, yeah, I did. I joined before, or I came on the first time before I joined Trivanus because we were going to talk about my blog that I'm horrible
Yes.
about keeping up
Yes.
at now because I had done the comparison of products.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yep. So that's good. Well, congratulations again on the 1 year anniversary and all the
One
good
year
work
of
you're
knowing
doing.
you.
You guys are doing a great job.
All right, sounds good. Have a good rest of your day. And if you're interested or want to come and join us out at the community, then I'm looking forward to seeing you there.
Sounds good. Well, Jennifer, you take care, and we will see you next time. And for all you folks watching, please subscribe, give us your feedback, and we will put a note on how to get a hold of Jennifer at Trivantis. Well, have a good one, everyone. Take care. Thanks. Bye-bye. Bye, Jennifer.
Bye.